places in this land where the wind carries more than dust. It carries stories of men who lived fast, fought hard and vanished without a trace. And among them, one name was spoken quieter than the rest, not out of respect, but fear: Dalton Winchester. Some said he was a ghost, others swore he was just a man. But every single soul who crossed his path knew one thing for certain: if Dalton Winchester was nearby, trouble wasn't far behind. The year was somewhere in the late 1800s, the kind of time when the law was thin, and the bush stretched farther than a man could run. Gold had brought people to the colonies, but it was men like Dalton Winchester who made them wish they had never come. He didn't wear a badge, didn't answer to anyone, and he didn't leave witnesses unless he chose to. Travelers would speak of him in whispers, a rider who appeared out of nowhere, shadow against the sun, a man with a steady hand and eyes that never hesitated. Stagecoaches stopped running certain routes, farmers locked their doors before sunset, and children were warned: if you don't behave, Dalton Winchester will find you. But Dalton hadn't always been a legend once. He had just been a man trying to survive. No one knew exactly where he came from. Some said he was the son of a convict. Others believed he was raised in the bush itself, taught to ride before he could walk and taught to fight before he could think. What was known was what he became: a bushranger, a thief, a man who took what he needed and vanished before the law could catch him. And on one cold morning, under a sky that hadn't yet decided to be light, Dalton Winchester and his gang prepared for another job. They waited along a narrow track hidden among dry trees and scattered rock. The sound came first: horse hooves, wheels grinding over dirt. A stagecoach inside, money, supplies, possibly gold. Outside, 4 armed men, and one who didn't miss. Dalton sat tall in the saddle, hat low, eyes sharp, watching, waiting. One of the men beside him shifted nervously, sure about this one. He muttered. Dalton didn't look at him. Didn't need to. "We don't turn back now." The coach rounded the bend, and in that instant, the world changed. Gunshots cracked through the still morning air. Horses screamed. Men shouted. Dalton moved like he always did. Fast, controlled, precise. Every shot counted, every movement deliberate. Within seconds, it was over. Smoke drifted into the air. The driver lay still, one guard groaned in the dirt. Dalton dismounted calmly, walked forward, checked the coach. Another clean job, another escape. Or at least, it should have been. Because this time something was different. A sound. Faint, but wrong. Hoofbeats. More than a few, coming fast. Dalton's head turned, eyes narrowing. And then, he saw them. Lawmen riding hard, rifles already in hand. "Move," someone shouted, but it was already too late. Gunfire erupted again. But this time it wasn't in their favor. Men scrambled, horses bolted. The gang scattered in every direction. Dalton mounted fast, spurring his horse into the scrub. Branches tore at him, dust filled the air, shots cracked past his ears. And then, impact. A single shot. Dalton's body jerked, his grip faltered. He stayed in the saddle, but barely. Blood began to spread across his shirt. Warm, relentless. Behind him, the sound of the law closing in. Ahead of him, nothing but open land. He pushed forward further still, until the world began to blur. His gang was gone, the law was gaining, and for the first time in years, Dalton Winchester was running out of road. The horse slowed, then stumbled. Dalton slid from the saddle, hitting the ground hard. The sky above him spun, then steadied. For a long moment, he didn't move, didn't think, didn't fight. He simply lay there, staring up at the empty sky. The legend, the outlaw, the most wanted man in the country, left alone in the dirt, bleeding and forgotten, and somewhere far from the sound of gunfire, far from the reach of the law, a woman would soon find him, and everything would change.
The land was different out here, quieter, not untouched, but forgotten. There were no towns for miles, no crowded roads, no lawmen riding patrol at dawn. Just dry grass, open sky, and the slow, steady rhythm of survival. This was where Eliza Hart lived. Eliza wasn't the kind of woman people wrote stories about. She didn't chase trouble, didn't ask for more than what the land would give. But life had already taken more from her than most could bear. Her husband had been gone for 3 years now, taken by sickness that came quick and left just as quickly. All that remained was a weathered farmhouse, 2 young children, and a life that demanded more strength than she ever thought she had. Every morning she rose before the sun, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. There were fences to mend, animals to feed, crops that refused to grow without a fight, and no one coming to help. Out here, you either endured or you didn't last long. It was late afternoon when she found him. The sun hung low, casting long shadows across the land. Eliza had been checking the far edge of the property, a place where the fence line often gave way. She walked slowly, eyes trained on the ground, watching, listening. And that's when she saw it. A shape, not quite right. At first, she thought it was nothing more than a fallen branch or a stray animal dragged in by predators. But as she stepped closer, her breath caught. It was a man, lying still in the dirt. Clothes torn, boots covered in dust and blood, soaked deep into his shirt. For a moment, Eliza didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even breathe, because out here, a man like that didn't just appear without reason. He could be anyone, a traveler, a thief, something worse. Her first instinct was simple. Walk away. Take her children. Lock the doors, pretend she never saw him. Because helping a stranger out here could cost you everything. But then, the man stirred. Just slightly. A faint movement, a quiet, broken breath, alive and in pain. Eliza closed her eyes for a moment as if weighing something heavier than the man himself. Then slowly, she stepped forward. "Can you hear me?" she called softly. No answer. She knelt beside him, careful, ready to pull away at the first sign of danger. His face was shadowed beneath the brim of his hat, but even through the dirt and blood, she could see it. This wasn't an ordinary man. There was something in the set of his jaw, in the quiet tension still held in his body, even as he lay half-conscious, like violence hadn't left him yet. She pressed a hand gently against his chest and felt it. The weak, uneven rhythm of a man barely holding on. If she left him here, he wouldn't last the night. The wind passed quietly over the land as if waiting. And in that stillness, Eliza Hart made a decision that would change everything. She wasn't going to leave him. Getting him back to the house wasn't easy. He was heavy, dead weight in every sense of the word. She dragged him at first, then managed to pull him onto a small cart used for supplies. Step by step, strain by strain, she brought a wanted man, a stranger, a danger she didn't understand, straight into her home. The house was small, worn, but still standing. Her children watched from the doorway, wide-eyed, silent. "Mama, who is that?" one of them asked. Eliza didn't answer right away because the truth was, she didn't know. "Someone who needs help," she finally said. That night, sleep didn't come easy. She cleaned the wound as best she could, boiled water, tore cloth, pressed against bleeding that didn't want to stop. The man never fully woke, but every so often, he moved, flinched, as though fighting something unseen. Once, he spoke, a single word, low, barely there. "Don't." Eliza paused, watching him. Was it a warning, a memory, a plea? She didn't know. And somehow, that made him more dangerous. Outside, the night stretched long and quiet. No riders, no law, no sign that the world was looking for the man lying in her home. But that wouldn't last. Because somewhere out there, men were already searching. And they were getting closer. Eliza Hart had saved his life. She just didn't know yet who she had let inside her door.
Morning came slowly to the farmhouse. The first light crept through the cracks in the timber walls, soft, pale, quiet. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel still, as if nothing dangerous could exist out here. But inside that house, danger was already awake. Dalton Winchester didn't open his eyes all at once. It came in fragments, a faint breath, a shift in his fingers, a slow, painful return to something that felt like life. Then, sound. A chair creaking, footsteps across wooden floorboards, and finally, light. His eyes opened. At first, nothing made sense. The ceiling above him was unfamiliar. Rough timber, low beams. Not the sky, not the bush, not where he had expected to die. His breathing sharpened, instinct taking over before thought could catch up. His hand twitched, reaching blindly to his side. Nothing. No weapon. That's when the panic flickered behind his eyes. Then the pain came, sharp, deep, unforgiving. It tore through his chest and forced a quiet groan from him. And just like that, he remembered. Gunfire, the chase, the fall. He wasn't supposed to wake up from that. You shouldn't move. The voice came from across the room, calm, steady. Dalton's eyes snapped toward it.
There she was, Eliza Hart, standing near the table watching him, not frightened, not surprised, just watching. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Dalton studied her, trying to understand. "Where am I?" he managed, his voice rough and low. Eliza didn't answer immediately. She stepped closer instead, careful, measured. "My home," she said. Dalton's eyes narrowed slightly. That didn't explain enough. "Why?" he asked. A simple question, but the meaning behind it was clear. Why save him? Why bring a stranger into her home? Eliza held his gaze. "You were dying," she said. "As far as I could tell, that was reason enough." Dalton let out a quiet breath. Not quite a laugh, not quite relief. "People don't usually take that kind of risk," he muttered. Eliza's expression didn't change. Maybe they should. The room fell quiet again. Dalton shifted slightly, immediately regretting it as pain pulled at his wound. Eliza noticed. "Don't," she said firmly. "If you tear it open again, I won't be able to stop the bleeding." For the first time in a long while, Dalton wasn't in control of the situation, and he didn't like it. "How long?" he asked. "Since yesterday," Eliza replied. "You've been in and out." Dalton absorbed that. A full day. That meant, anyone come through here? He asked quickly. Eliza shook her head. "No." Another pause. Then she added, "Should I expect someone to?" Dalton looked at her, really looked this time. She wasn't naive. She knew enough to ask the question, but not enough to know what kind of answer she might be getting. "No," he said finally, "not if I'm lucky." It wasn't the truth, but it was enough for now. From the doorway, a small voice broke the tension. "Mama, is he awake?" Dalton's eyes moved instantly. Two children stood there watching, curious, not afraid. They caught him off guard. Men usually looked at him with fear or anger, but children, they didn't see what he really was. Eliza turned slightly. "Both of you, stay there." They didn't move closer, but they didn't leave either. Just stood, watching the man who wasn't supposed to be alive. Dalton glanced between them and Eliza. "You've got a family to think about," he said quietly. A warning, hidden beneath something softer. He shouldn't be taking chances like this. Eliza met his gaze again. "I made my choice," she said. No hesitation, no apology. Dalton didn't respond right away, because for the first time, he wasn't sure what to say. "Do you have a name?" Eliza asked. Another simple question, another moment where Dalton had to choose the truth or something safer. "Daniel," he said after a beat. The name came easily, too easily. Eliza nodded once. "Daniel," she repeated, as if testing whether it fit. It didn't, but she let it stand. For now. Outside, the wind moved gently across the fields inside. Something had shifted. The outlaw who trusted no one now lay wounded in a stranger's home. And the woman who should have feared him chose to keep him alive. Dalton Winchester had survived the gunfire. But what lay ahead would test him far more than a bullet ever could.
The days that followed were quiet. Not the kind of quiet Dalton was used to. Not the tense silence before a robbery. Not the watchful stillness of a man on the run. The
This was something else. Steady, predictable, unforgiving in its own way. Dalton didn't leave the bed much at first, couldn't. The wound in his chest held him where he was. A constant reminder that he wasn't as untouchable as he once believed. Even breathing too deeply carried pain. But each morning, he woke, and each day he lasted a little longer. Eliza said little. She came and went as the day demanded, bringing water, changing bandages, making sure the man she had taken in didn't slip away in the night. She asked no questions he didn't answer, and he offered nothing freely. But she watched him, not out of fear, not anymore, but out of understanding. She knew struggle, recognized it, and Dalton carried it like a second skin. It was the children who changed things first, they always do. Children didn't care much for secrets, didn't see danger the way adults did. They saw a man who had been hurt and lived under their roof. The boy was the first to speak to him. "Does it hurt?" he asked one afternoon. Dalton glanced toward him, surprised. For a moment he didn't answer. Then, "Yeah," he said. The boy nodded, as if that confirmed something important. "I fell out of a tree once," he said. "Thought I was gonna die." Dalton let out a faint breath, almost a laugh. "Did you?" he asked. The boy shook his head. "No, but it felt like it. It wasn't much, but it was something." And for the first time, Dalton didn't feel like he needed to shut the world out. Days turned into more than days. The rhythm of the farm didn't wait for anyone, not even a wounded man. There were animals to feed, water to haul, repairs that couldn't be ignored. And Eliza, she carried all of it. Dalton noticed. At first, it was nothing more than observation. But slowly, it began to bother him. One morning he pushed himself upright. The pain was still there, sharp, immediate. But he ignored it, swung his legs over the side of the bed, stood. For just a moment, the world tilted, then steadied. He stepped outside. The land stretched wide before him. Dry fields, worn fences, a place held together by effort more than luck. Eliza was already working, mending part of the fence line that had given way by herself. Dalton watched for a moment, then walked toward her. Slow, careful. "You're doing that wrong." The words came out before he could stop them. Eliza looked up, not offended, not surprised. "Then you're welcome to do it right," she said simply. Dalton hesitated. This wasn't his place, wasn't his life. But something in him didn't turn away. He stepped closer, took the tools from her, adjusted the tension in the wire, reset the post, worked with the quiet efficiency of someone who had spent years surviving off skill alone. Within minutes, the fence stood stronger. Eliza watched him for a moment. "You've done this before," she said. Dalton didn't look at her. Something like it. She didn't press, didn't need to, because the answer was already clear. This man, wherever he came from, hadn't lived an easy life after that. It didn't stop. A repair here, a task there. Small things at first, but each day, Dalton did a little more, until it stopped feeling unusual and started feeling expected. He fixed broken tools, strengthened weak parts of the house, took over heavier work Eliza had been forcing herself to handle alone. The children followed him sometimes, watching, asking questions. He didn't always answer, but he didn't send them away either. And slowly, they began to trust him. And that, more than anything, was dangerous. Because Dalton Winchester was not a man meant for places like this. Not a man built for routine or belonging. Yet somehow, against instinct, against habit, against everything he had been, he stayed. One evening, as the sun dipped low beyond the fields, Dalton sat outside the house. Eliza stepped out beside him, quietly. For a while, they said nothing. Just watched the sky fade from gold to something softer. "You don't strike me as the kind of man who settles in one place," she said after a while. Dalton's gaze stayed forward. "Neither do I," he replied. "Then why are you still here?" she asked. The question lingered, longer than expected, because for the first time, Dalton didn't have an easy answer. "Recovering," he said finally. Eliza didn't respond, but something in her expression said she didn't entirely believe him. The farm needed him, that much was true. But the truth Dalton hadn't yet faced was far more dangerous than any lawman. Because for the first time in years, he wasn't just surviving. He was starting to belong. And men, like Dalton Winchester, were never meant to belong anywhere.
Time has a way of moving differently when you stop running from it. For Dalton Winchester, each day at the farm brought something unfamiliar. Not danger, not pursuit, but something far more unsettling. Peace. Morning came with purpose. The sound of boots on dirt, the creak of fence posts, the quiet rhythm of work that didn't need a gun or a getaway. Dalton found himself rising earlier now, not out of habit, but because there was something worth waking for. The farm wasn't much, still wasn't. But under his hands, it began to change. Fences stood straighter, the well ran cleaner. The animals stopped wandering where they shouldn't. And Eliza, she didn't have to carry it alone anymore. The boy followed him almost everywhere now, asking questions, trying to copy the way Dalton worked. "How do you know which wood to use?" he asked one afternoon. Dalton glanced down. "You don't," he said. "You learn which ones break, and don't use those again." The boy grinned. That was enough for him. The younger one stayed closer to the house, but she watched Dalton too, careful at first, then slowly, less afraid. One evening, she handed him a small cup of water without saying a word. Dalton took it, paused, then nodded once, a silent kind of thanks. It was strange, this life. There were no plans, no maps, no lookout points. Just the next task, the next moment. And for the first time in years, Dalton wasn't thinking about what came after. It was late one evening when things truly began to change. The children had gone to sleep, the wind had settled, and the world outside the farmhouse felt distant. Dalton sat at the table, cleaning his hands. Eliza stood near the window looking out across the dark land. "You've done more in a few weeks than I've managed all year," she said quietly. Dalton didn't look up. "Just fixing what was already here." "That's not all you've done," she replied. There was something in her voice now, something deeper. Dalton noticed, set his hands down. "Then what?" he asked. Eliza hesitated, as if deciding whether to cross a line that couldn't be uncrossed.
"You made this place feel," she began, then stopped. Dalton waited. "Less empty," she finished. The words lingered in the room, heavy, honest. Dalton leaned back slightly. That wasn't something he knew how to answer. "I wasn't expecting that," he admitted. Eliza gave a faint smile. "Neither was I." Another silence, but not uncomfortable this time. Something softer, something unspoken but felt. Dalton looked at her, really looked. Not as someone who had saved his life, not as someone he owed, but as someone he didn't want to leave behind. "You ever think about leaving this place?" he asked. Eliza shook her head. "This is all I've got." She paused. "And all I want." Dalton looked down. That answer stayed with him. Because for the first time, he wondered what it would be like to want something that's simple. But the past doesn't stay buried no matter how far you ride from it. No matter how still the world around you seems. It waits, quiet, patient, and then it finds you. A rider came through 2 days later. A traveler, dust-covered, tired, looking for water and a place to rest. Dalton saw him first, and something in his chest tightened. Instinct. The kind you don't forget. Eliza greeted the man kindly, as she always did. No suspicion, no fear. Just the quiet strength of someone used to surviving alone. The traveler sat at the table, accepted a drink, and began to talk. "Lot of talk out there lately," he said. Eliza glanced up. "About what?" The man let out a breath. "Bushranger name of Dalton Winchester." Dalton went still, completely still. Like the world had suddenly narrowed to a single point. "They say he got hit bad," the traveler continued. "Last anyone saw, he was bleeding out somewhere not far from here." Eliza's expression didn't change, but her eyes shifted slowly toward Dalton. The room felt smaller, quieter, heavier. Dalton didn't move, didn't speak, but something had already changed. Because for the first time, the life he had been living here was no longer separate from the life he had run from. And Eliza's heart had just heard the name of the man living under her roof.
The name didn't leave the room. It lingered, hung in the air like something unspoken, but fully understood. Dalton Winchester. Even after the traveler stopped talking, even after the cup was set down and the dust of the road seemed to settle, that name remained. Dalton didn't move, didn't react. Years of instinct had taught him one thing: stillness could save your life. But Eliza, she wasn't looking at the traveler anymore. Her eyes stayed on him, on Daniel, or whatever his name really was. The traveler didn't stay long. A drink, a short rest, then back on the road, unaware of what he'd left behind. Because once the door closed behind him, the silence inside the farmhouse changed. It wasn't calm anymore. It was waiting. Eliza didn't speak straight away. She moved slowly, cleared the table, set things in place as if the routine might make this easier. It didn't. Finally, she stopped, turned. Dalton Winchester. She didn't ask it like a question. She said it like a truth she already understood. Dalton sat there, still as stone. He could lie. He had done it his entire life.
A different name, a different story, another version of himself that kept him safe. But this wasn't the bush. This wasn't a robbery. And she wasn't just anyone. Slowly, he looked up at her. And for the first time since waking in that house, he didn't pretend. "Yeah," he said quietly. The truth settled between them, simple, heavy, final. Eliza didn't step back, didn't shout, didn't reach for anything to defend herself. But something in her expression changed, not fear, not exactly, but something close to it. "All this time," she said softly. Dalton nodded once. "All this time," he repeated. She looked down for a moment, then back at him. "You could have told me," she said. Dalton let out a slow breath. "And you would have let me stay?" he asked. Eliza didn't answer straight away, because they both knew the truth. No, she wouldn't have. "You brought danger into this house," she said. It wasn't anger. It was something deeper, fear for her children, for the life she had built. Dalton stood slowly, ignoring the pain. "You think I don't know that?" he said low and steady. "I didn't mean for this." "You didn't mean for it," she repeated. "Or you just didn't care." That one landed. For a moment, Dalton had no answer. Because once, that question had been easy. "I cared enough to stay away from people," he said finally. "Until I couldn't." Eliza crossed her arms slightly, not defensive, but holding herself together. "You're still him, aren't you?" she asked. Dalton didn't look away. "Yeah," he said. "No excuses, no denial." "But not here," he added. That made her pause. "Not here?" she asked. He shook his head slowly. "Not when I'm on that land," he said. "Not when I'm fixing fences or feeding animals." He stopped himself. "Or what?" she pressed quietly. Dalton met her eyes. "Not when I'm with you." The words hung there, unplanned, unpolished, but real. Eliza's expression softened, just slightly, but she didn't let it take over. "You don't get to choose when you're that man," she said. Another truth, a painful one. Dalton nodded. "I know." And he did. Because no matter how quiet the farm felt, no matter how different life seemed here, the world outside hadn't changed. Men were still looking for him, and if they found him, they wouldn't stop at him. "You need to leave," Eliza said. The words came out steady, but not without weight, not without cost. Dalton looked at her. For just a second, something flickered in his expression, not anger, not resentment, something closer to loss. "You really want me to go?" he asked. Eliza didn't answer immediately, because the truth wasn't simple anymore. "I want my children safe," she said. That was the answer, and it was enough. Dalton nodded slowly. "Then I go," he said, simple, like it didn't cost him anything. But it did more than he expected. Neither of them moved for a while. The room felt different now, the space between them, wider, heavier. Because the truth had done what it always does. It changed everything. Dalton Winchester had faced guns, the law, and death itself. But standing there, in that quiet farmhouse, he realized something far more dangerous. For the first time in his life, he had something to lose. The decision had been made. Not with anger, not with shouting, but with something far heavier: acceptance. Dalton Winchester was leaving. The house felt different that evening, smaller, quieter. As if the walls themselves understood that something was about to end. Eliza kept herself busy, small tasks that didn't need doing. Dishes already clean, tools already set. Anything to avoid standing still. Anything to avoid saying what she didn't know how to say. Dalton stayed outside longer than usual, sitting on the old timber step, looking out over the land he had no right to miss. But he did. He'd left places before, townships, hideouts, even people. And not once had he looked back. Not once had it felt like this. Because this time, he wasn't running from something. He was walking away from it. Inside. The children noticed before anyone said a word. They always did. "Is he going somewhere?" the boy asked quietly. Eliza paused, only for a moment. "Yes," she said. The answer was simple, but it carried more weight than the boy could understand. "When?" he asked. Eliza's voice softened. "Soon." The boy didn't respond right away. He looked toward the door as if expecting Dalton to walk back in at any moment. But when he didn't, something shifted in his expression. A quiet, reluctant understanding. The younger one said nothing at all. She simply clung a little closer to Eliza. Darkness came slowly to the farm. The last light faded beyond the fields, leaving only shadows and the quiet hum of the night. Inside, no one spoke much. A few words here and there, but nothing that mattered. Because the things that mattered were harder to say. After the children fell asleep, Dalton stepped inside. The house felt warmer than the night air, but colder in every other way. His things were few. What little he had could be gathered in minutes. He moved quietly, carefully, like he had done so many times before. But this time, each movement felt heavier. He paused near the table, his gaze drifting across the room. The worn floorboards, the chair he'd sat in, the place he had almost begun to call home. "You're leaving tonight." Eliza's voice came from behind him. Not a question. Dalton turned slightly. "Before morning," he said. She stepped closer. Not too close. Just enough to stand beside him for a while. Neither spoke, just shared the silence. "It's safer that way," Dalton said eventually. Eliza nodded once. "I know." Another pause, longer this time, heavy with everything neither of them could quite admit. "You could have left days ago," she said softly. Dalton gave a small, almost humorless breath. "Yeah," he said. "But you didn't." That wasn't a question either. Dalton looked at her. "No," he admitted. Eliza met his gaze. "Why?" The question was quiet, but it carried more weight than any before it. Dalton didn't answer immediately, because this wasn't something he had words for. Not easily. "I forgot what it was like," he said finally. Eliza waited. "Forgot what?" she asked. Dalton's voice dropped slightly. "To stay," he said. The words landed harder than anything else he had said, because they weren't about the past. They were about what he wanted. Eliza looked down briefly, then back at him. "You don't have to go," she said. The moment the words left her mouth, something changed. Dalton's expression shifted, just slightly, but enough. "Yes, I do," he said. No hesitation, no doubt. "They'll come looking," he added. "And when when they do, this place won't be safe. He wasn't thinking about himself anymore, and that, more than anything, told her how much he had changed. Eliza nodded slowly. She understood, even if she didn't want to. "You should rest," she said after a moment. Dalton shook his head. "Not tonight. Because if he stopped moving, if he let himself settle again, he might not leave at all." Far from the farmhouse, beyond the stretch of dry land and scattered trees, riders moved through the dark, steady, focused, unrelenting. They didn't speak much, didn't need to. They were following a trail, and that trail was leading them here. Inside the farmhouse, time was slipping away, every minute bringing the inevitable closer. Dalton stepped toward the door, then stopped, turned back, for just a moment. Eliza. Her name stayed there, hanging between them. There were things he could say, things he should say, but none of them seemed enough. "Thank you," he said. That was all. But it meant everything. Eliza held his gaze. "You found your way here," she said quietly. "Don't lose it when you leave." Dalton nodded once, then turned back toward the door. Outside, the night waited. And somewhere in the distance, so did the men hunting him. By morning, Dalton Winchester would be gone. But the world he was running from was already on his doorstep.
The night hadn't yet given way to morning. The world sat in that fragile space between darkness and light, where everything felt still, but nothing truly was. Dalton Winchester knew that feeling. It was the kind of silence that came before something broke. He stepped out onto the porch. The air was cold, dry. And for a moment, he just stood there, looking out across the land, memorizing it. Then he heard it, faint, distant, but unmistakable. Hoofbeats, more than one, moving fast. Dalton's expression changed instantly. Every instinct snapped back into place. The man who had been fixing fences was gone. The outlaw returned. He turned sharply, Eliza. She was already awake. "How far?" she asked. "Too close," he replied. The children stirred, confused, half awake, unaware of the danger. "You need to get them out the back," Dalton said. "Stay low, stay quiet." He glanced out across the land. He could still leave right now, ride hard, disappear. That's what he would have done before, without hesitation. But this wasn't before. Behind him was something worth staying for. Dalton Winchester didn't run. He picked up the rifle, checked it, calm, controlled. Not for escape, for protection. The riders appeared through the dark. 6 men, armed, spreading out carefully. "Dalton Winchester," one of them called. "You're done running." Dalton stepped forward, still steady. "Not today," he said. The first shot rang out. Then everything exploded. Gunfire tore through the morning. Dalton moved fast, precise. Every shot counted. He wasn't trying to win, he was buying time, keeping them focused on him, not the house. Dalton stepped back inside. Eliza was waiting. She understood. "You go now," he said. "No, you go." Their eyes met. Everything unspoken passed between them. "I won't make it far," he said, "but it'll be far enough." She stepped forward and held him tight, just for a moment.
No words, only meaning. "Don't let them take this place," he said quietly. She nodded. Dalton stepped back outside, mounted his horse, turned away from the house. Then he rode, hard, fast. The lawmen followed instantly, of course they did. Across open land they went, dust rising, light breaking, a shot echoed, then another, then silence. At sunrise, Eliza stood at the edge of the property watching, waiting. But Dalton Winchester never returned. Some say he was killed that morning. Others say he kept riding until there was nothing left to chase him. But out there, on that quiet farm, life went on. Because for one brief moment, the most wanted man in the land chose something else. And in that choice, Dalton Winchester became more than a legend. He became a man worth remembering.